Welcome back to the channel. We're back with some more Commander content. It's not Final Fantasy this time around. We're actually onto a Bloomburrow Commander. If there are any commanders that you do want to see deck profiles of, make sure you leave it down there in the comment section, and we'll do our best to cover it and make a deck profile for that. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe so you can stay tuned for future videos. But Alania Divergent Storm is 3 a blue and a red for whenever you cast a spell. If it's the first instant, the first sorcery, or the first otter spell you cast this turn, you may have a target opponent draw a card, and if you do, copy that spell. So that's not just like the first of one, it's the first of one, the first second one, first third one. So like if we cast a sorcery, we get a second one. If we cast an instant, we get a second one, even if it is during the same turn. And third one if we get an otter, because we do have quite a few otters in the set. This is another fun deck build, coming in at just under $150, a little bit more budget friendly compared to some other deck profiles that are on the channel. But that's the general overview of the deck. Is we want to basically cast lots of spells to do lots of things. We have quite a few things to reduce the cost, plenty of instants or sorcerers that we'll get to on the second half of the deck. That'll help us win the game there. I think we have an extra turn spell in here that we could keep copying as well to help us, get that win off. But let's get into it card by card. We are in red-blue, and this is a 5-cost commander, so we have some ramp with Arcane Signet, Falwar Stone, Izzet Signet, Mind Stone, Soul Ring, and Talisman of Creativity. Then we have Pyromancer's Goggles, that does also give us a little bit of red mana, but when this mana is spent to cast an instant or sorcery spell, which, would you believe it, we'd like to do it. It does cost 5 mana, of course, but that is a little bit of a downside there. But you get to copy an instant or sorcery spell, which, we get to do twice. That could be 3 extra turns we already have on the way. Following that, we have Alania's Pathmaker. Whenever Alania's Pathmaker enters, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card, allowing you some additional draw power without actually having the cards in your hand. Following Alania, we have Archmage Emeritus, 4 mana. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. A little bit of draw power goes a long way in this deck because we want to make sure that anytime we cast an instant or sorcery, we have another instant or sorcery in the hand ready to go to cast a second one. Archmage of Runes, instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. Super helpful for this deck, especially because we have a lot of 2 mana spells. This way we could storm off a little bit easier. And whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. We like to see it. We like to draw cards, same thing as Archmage of Eternatus. Coruscation Mage, Offspring 2, allowing us to create a second one that's just a 1/1. And it has the ability of whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So we could potentially have 3 of them on the battlefield if we have Alania in order to copy this. And then, deal 3 damage to our opponent anytime we cast an instant sorcery. And with that cost reduction and that extra draw power, we'll be able to keep drawing into more stuff to deal that more damage to them. Daring Wave Rider, 6 mana. Whenever Daring Wave Rider enters, you may cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. That spell would be put into your graveyard, exiled instead, allowing us an extra spell to copy. We could do 2 of those because it is when it enters, so even if we copy it, we get a second spell that we could copy. So if we, get an instant for our first one, a sorcery for a second one, we did cast it without paying its mana cost. So, get the benefit of it while we can. Illuge of the Shoreless Sea, probably the best spell slinger commander from Bloomburrow. Illuge's power and toughness are each equal to the number of islands you control, so it could be pretty strong, not that strong. Whenever Illuge enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types as long as he has a flood counter on it. So us buffing him up a bit more, and the first instant sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue less for each land you control with a flood counter. So first turn he comes out, you get a blue spell that only costs 1 for free. Then when he attacks, you're eventually getting a spell that costs 2 less, allowing us to storm off even easier there. Firebrand Archer, whenever he casts a non-creature spell, deal 1 damage to each opponent, allowing us a way to actually win the game by having some damage to deal. Gutter Snipe does the same thing, but deals 2 damage to each opponent. Harnesser of Storms, whenever you cast a non-creature or otter spell, you may exile the top card of your library until the end of your turn. You may play that card. It only happens once each turn, but you could technically have 2 of these on the board if you did copy it with Alania's ability. It also allows you a little bit of extra draw power to have those additional cards, which, normally that'll be a little bit of draw power on top of the deck you might have. Kindle Spark Duo, tap, deal 1 damage to target opponent. A little bit worse version of the Firebrand Archer Gutter Snipe ability. You do have to tap it so it can't happen until the turn comes down. But whenever You cast a non-creature spell, untap it, and you can do it again and again and again and again. And we potentially have 2 of them on the board if we copied it with Alania. Kitsa, Ally Brawl Elite, Vigilance, Prowess, draw a card, then discard a card. And or you pay 2, copy target instant sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for a copy, only if he has power 3 or greater, so you did need to cast 2 instant sorceries first in order to make sure you copy that ability. But you can do it on the second cast, so it's copy target instant sorcery spell you control, so you have control of it while it's on the stack. So that's a fun ability you got there. Following that up, we have Light Shell Duel, another thing with prowess in order to get that extra stat boost, so we could actually have something to swing in with. Or something to block with. Whenever this creature enters Surveil 2, we potentially do that twice if we got a second copy of it, so allow us to decide what we want off the top of the deck. Do we need 4 more lands off the top of our deck? No, put them right in the graveyard. Or, if you have something in your hand that could copy all instant sorceries in your graveyard, just put that instant sorcery in your graveyard. Niv Mizzet Perun and Niv Mizzet Visionary for a little bit of infinite combo there. A spell can be countered whenever you draw a card, deal 1 damage to any target. Okay, we're going to be drawing plenty of cards, we're going to be dealing plenty of damage, and whenever a player casts an instant sorcery spell, draw a card and deal damage essentially. It's also to any target, so there's also a source of removal there. Niv Mizzet Visionary, whenever you deal non-combat damage to an opponent, for example, the damage you dealt by drawing a card with Perun, you get to draw a card. So you draw a card, you deal damage, you draw a card, and you just keep going back and forth on that. Stormkiln Artist, this creature gets +1/+1/+0 for each artifact you control. Not that many on base power, is it? But he can get quite strong whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell. Create a treasure token. Each of those treasure tokens will help power him up, and that is one of the only abilities that actually works off of copying an ability in order to get a buff for our creatures. And it allows us to see additional mana to cast the extra stuff that we want, especially after, we got everything down to only costing 1 mana with all our cost reduction. Such as Stormcatch Mentor, which has instant sorcery spells you cast, costs 1 less cast. Storm Splitter, it has haste whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell. Create a token that's a copy of Storm Splitter. Exile the token at the beginning of the next end step. You potentially start off with 2 of these if you had Alania on the board. Oh, sorry, and also Stormcatch. It also has haste and prowess, so 2 more things getting stronger if you have Alania on the board. But Storm Splitter, you go from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. Keep on going, the more and more you have. Summon GF Cerberus. Don't know what GF stands for, actually. Surveil 1 for its first ability, but second ability is one you really care about. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell this turn, copy it. Not just the first one. You may choose targets for that copy. So, why just deal 2 damage? You're dealing 3 why just deal 3 damage with Lightning Bolt? Now you're doing 6. And, more tokens off Stormkiln Artist with that. And start abilities whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell this turn, copy it twice. So, it's going to be rare that we're going to get to that point because someone will probably remove it by then. But, it's super helpful if we can get that far. Why can't deal 3 damage when you deal 9? Talrand Sky Summoner, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, get 2/2 Drake, allowing us something to block the flyers because we don't have much. And, that could just be helpful because we're going to be casting a lot of instant sorceries and some way to swing in for that little final push that we'll need. Tempest Angler. Another creature that keeps getting stronger the more instant sorcery spells we cast, but these are +1/+1 counters rather than just prowess for the stack. And we get 2 of them, 2 strong creatures if we have Alania on the board. Emperor Palamecia. Tap, add blue or red, only cast non-creature spells. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, 4 more mana spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter onto him, and eventually you can transform it into Lord Master of Hell. Whenever Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. Like I said, if we surveilled 4 and it's all instant sorceries, then we attack in with this, it'd be quite a bit of damage. Valley Floodcaller, whenever you cast a non-creature spells, though they had flash, allow us to cast our sorceries at instant speed, essentially. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, birds, frogs, otters, rats, aka otters, get +1/+1 till end of turn, and you can also untap them. So even if we dealt use them to swing in, and our opponent thinks we don't have anything to block with, now we do, because we could flash this in with its ability, and then cast our sorcery at instant speed, drawing us just a little bit of cards, but untapping all of our stuff and making them even stronger to block our opponent's stuff. Varen, Voice of Duality. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, get +1/+1 till end of turn. Oh, sorry, this one also works off copying. I was wrong. It wasn't just Stormkill Artist. And if casting or copying instant or sorcery spell causes this ability to happen, it happens an additional time. You know, we love seeing it. We have been doing so many damage with our Firebrand Archer and Gutter Snipe that let's just make it do more. Artist Talent, 2 mana, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, discard a card, draw a card. Let's get rid of our Pyromancer's Goggles if we're not at a point where we could use them yet. 3 mana, non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast, allowing us that little bit of cost reduction comes in real helpful there. And then an additional 3 mana for if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent, which is going to be happening quite a lot. Deals that much plus 2 instead, so it's not just double, it's triple for a lot of these because a lot of them are just 1 damage. Only double for Gutter Snipe though. Storm Chaser's Talent. When it enters, create a 1/1 blue-red otter token with prowess. Alania's a pretty strong creature there. And whenever this class becomes level 2, return target instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard to your hand, allowing us to recur our best spell, possibly an extra turn spell, allowing us to copy that again. And then Storm Chaser's Talent, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, get a 1/1 otter with prowess. That could be a lot of power on the board at a certain point. Especially if we could have them with Valley Floodcaller on the board at the same time. Sorry, I scrolled down. I forgot I scrolled over already. But now onto the meat and potatoes of the deck. We got our instants and sorceries and our planeswalker. We didn't put lands in this deck just because we never go over them anyway. So let's just leave them out. But we got big score, initial cost to cast a spell, discard a card. If you draw 2, create 2 treasure tokens. If you copy this, you don't have to discard an extra card, but you do get to draw 4, create 4 treasure tokens. Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, put 2 on top of your library in any order. Just get the card that we want out of our top 3. Then maybe we can eventually shuffle, maybe we draw them, maybe we copy it, getting top 3, then the next top 3. But it doesn't get you like the next top 3 after those top 3. You put the 2 back, then you get the top 3. So you basically get 1 more card. Consider Surveil 1, draw a card. Surveil 2, draw 2 cards if we copy it. Counterspell, because why wouldn't we? We're in red-blue. Flame of Anor, 3 mana, choose 1. If you control a wizard, you could, as a spell, you may choose 2 instead, which, we have quite a few wizards in this deck. Target player draws 2 cards, we'll draw 4. Destroy target artifact, we'll destroy 2. Flame of Anor, 5 damage to target creature, we deal 5 damage to 2 creatures if we I'm talking, of course, if we copy the spell, not like, if we can choose 2 at the same time, it doesn't seem. Flare of Duplication, another way to copy our instant sorcery spells. And we can also choose new copies from them, as they all say. Or most copies, I think, say that. I'm not sure. Frantic Search, draw 2, discard 2, untap 3 lands. 3 mana to get 6 mana, and drawing 4, discarding 4. That's a big win there. But the big score was our big score. Lightning Bolt, deal 3 damage, deal 6 damage, deal as much damage as we could copy it for. And sometimes you just need that little less push. Limb Industrial Regency. Sorry, I lied. We put 1 land in here. Get a wizard token whenever you cast a non-creature spell, deal damage to each opponent. Allow us that little bit of extra push for that little bit of damage, because that's going to be our main win con there. Long River's Pull, it's just flavorful to have Long River's Pull over other counter spells in here. It's 2 mana, counter target spell, or gift card, and counter whatever. Opt, scry 2, draw 2. I'm talking, of course, if we copy these. I'm not just reading off the normal ability. Normally, scry 1, draw 1. Prismari Command, choose 2. Deal 2 damage to any target. Deal 2 damage to any 2 targets, essentially, if you copy it. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. Draw 4, discard 4. Target player creates a treasure token. Target player creates, or it could be 2 target players create 2 treasure token each. Destroy target artifact. You can destroy 2 target artifacts. Rapid Hybridization, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Get a Dree Frog Lizard creature token. So we're going to destroy 2 creatures, giving whoever had them the Frog Lizard. Sazakam Sprue, give the tapped fish as initial cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Target player draws 2 cards. If the gift was promised, the creature gets +2/+0 to end the turn. Yep. You may promise an opponent a gift as he casts the spell. So we only need to promise 1 gift of the tapped fish in order to draw 4, get +4/+0 on something. Seething Song. Dream mana to get 5 mana, which could potentially give us 10 mana if we could copy that. Snap, return target creature to its owner's hand. Untap 2 lands, but instead we're untapping 4. That's a good removal spell, at least temporarily, while giving us that additional mana that we need. Draw a possibility, discard 1, draw 2, but we could discard 1 to draw 4 if we could copy it. Unexpected Windfall, it's literally the same card as Big Score. These have to cost, like, different cost. Ral Crackling Wit. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter onto Ral. So you get to his 10 pretty easily. Create a 1/1 Otter with Prowess, or -3 to draw 3 cards, discard 2, or -10, draw 3 cards, and Lone Wood. Other instant sorcery spells you cast this turn have, oh no, just whenever you cast them, it's not just this turn, because it's an emblem, which is not removable. They have Storm now. So with all the cost reduction, we're really dealing a whole bunch of damage to everyone. Sorcery, we have Plasma Sack to start off, or a little bit of a board wipe. You know, we can copy this in order to really deal damage to all creatures. Gataxian Probe, look at target player's hand, draw a card. We look at 2 target players' hand, draw 2 cards, potentially. Lock and load, draw a card, then draw a card for each other instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn. So we'll definitely draw at least a 1. If we copy it, we draw 2 at least. Then draw a card for each other instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn. If we manage to storm off, that could be quite a bit. And we could copy it, do the storm ability with Ral. That really is a lot of cards in our hand. Mana Geyser, 5 mana. Get a red mana for each land your opponents control. It's tapped land, but you know, what are they also playing blue? Maybe. Who knows? But that could be a lot of mana, especially if we get 2 red mana for every one we copy. Mystic's Mastery, exile target card from exile target card that's an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copy it. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. So we basically pay the 8 to overload it and get all the instant sorceries out of our graveyard that we could ever want. Otterball Antics. It's flavorful. We get 1/1 Otter with Prowess. You can also get +1/+1 counter on a creature if you use the flashback ability. Pearl of Wisdom. Draw 2 cards for only 2 mana. We can potentially draw 4. If we had Alania on the board for only 2 mana, I think that's a good trade. Ponder. 1 blue mana, look at the top 3 of your deck, put them back in any order. You may shuffle. Oh, you could shuffle with that. Never knew that, actually. You can draw a card. Preordain. Scry 2, draw a card. Once again, Scry 2, then Scry 2 again. Because you don't get Scry 4, you just get Scry 2 twice. Yeah, allow us to draw 2 cards then. If we copied it. Solve the equation. Get whatever instant or sorcery spell you want out of your deck and into your hand. So we're going to get a little bit of draw power, right? No, we're getting Time Warp out of our deck. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. That's why we need to counter spell, so that this doesn't get countered, and we can copy it, taking 2 extra turns. Maybe we copy it for every other spell we cast this turn with Ral's ability, getting as many extra turns as we want. Treasure Coups, draw Jury for essentially 1 blue, and then Windfall. Discard our hand. Everyone draws cards equal to the number of cards in the player with the most cards in their hand. But that's the deck there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do have any decks in mind, make sure once again you leave that down there in the comment section. We'll be happy to go into some more deck profiles. Hope you have a great rest of the day.